Hello, boys and girls. This is your old friend RJ City, and today we're doing a movie that's perhaps so far the least known, least popular, and even least successful movie that I've done so far. Last week, when I did the Flintstones, I mentioned Rosie O'Donnell, of course, and I said, I remember that movie she did where she was dressed like a dominatrix. I just remembered her on the cover, dressed like a dominatrix. I remember seeing it in Blockbuster. I remember not understanding it, just wrestling with my emotions that, like, oh my God, I'm attracted to Rosie. I think she was doing her talk show at the time. So she was wearing blazers and shooting koosh balls and John McD and the McDLTs. I digress. So I wasn't really in the Rosie is hot sphere as I was becoming a man, but this cover, oh my goodness, the leather, the studs, the whole deal, so much so that I just remembered her in that outfit, and I remembered no one else that was in it, and I didn't even remember the name of the movie, which is so rare for me, because usually they stick in my head, but this was just the Rosie O'Donnell dominatrix movie. That's all I knew. So I looked it up. I had no idea who else was in this. Lo and behold, she co-stars in the movie with Dan Aykroyd, who is obviously, I've talked about at least 4 times. This is at least the 5th time. This is really just Dan Aykroyd filmography at this point. Anyway, the movie is called Exit to Eden. It's from 1994. So Dan is in prime my girl phase. Rosie has just finished the Flintstones, so now we're doing a Rosie O'Donnell filmography. Anyway, it's weird. I know nothing about it, so without any further ado, let us watch the trailer to 1994's Exit to Eden. We're previewing. Savoy Pictures. Good early 90s music. We got Fred Lavery, Sheila Kingston, 2 names that clearly only exist in films. So they're Los Angeles cop team. She looks good. She's looking fit and trim. So weird to see Dan with a mustache.
It's a place for S&M, B&D, and DNS.
Okay. Funny wordplay. So they're going to some sort of orgy island here of a bunch of perverts. A little CBT. How would you like to step on Dan Aykroyd's dick? Oh, and they're all uncomfortable because they're uptight LA cops. This is so weird. This is such a 90s idea of what S&M commercially is.
Do your parents know you do this?
Oh, wow. That's Amon. That's David Bowie's wife, for those of you who don't know. Oh, funny. So they're all stuck up and there's too much sex. I wonder if they end up hooking up at the end. I don't think so.
Against their grain.
Oh, God. Oh, there's a lot of mommy, daddy, dom sub-business happening here. That's for sure.
Get out.
Rosie looks good. This is probably... Dan got the erection and that's what hit the gong. That's the image! That's the image I don't forget. I certainly don't remember Dan donning the leather. Oh yeah, there's a case. I forgot. They're cops. They're not just having an orgy.
Paul Mercurio.
Paul Mercurio, a wonderful choreographer. Oh God.
Whoa.
Wow, Rosie gets into a fight with Amon. This is bizarre. I wasn't ready for this at all.
Exit to Eden.
Wow.
Fulfill your fantasy.
Go paint my house.
Funny, because she's the practical one and doesn't want to have any sex. Whew! Coming this October. Well, okay, that was nothing I remembered. So Dan Aykroyd and Rosie O'Donnell, they're 2 LA cops, and they have to solve a case at this orgy island with S&M and CBT. And perhaps BBC's, who knows. So I looked up the movie because it just seems weird. It seems like a strange choice. Rosie does it right after the Flintstones, which is like a huge blockbuster, I would say. And I think she was well received in it. She's probably the only one. So like, why this? Why Dan Aykroyd? What are the choices here? So I began to look it up. It was directed by Gary Marshall, which is frustrating because you'd think it would be a little funnier. And of course, his sister is Class. Penny Marshall. And they both appeared in cameos in, we discussed this a couple episodes ago, Hocus Pocus. See how shit's coming together? Okay. However, so the reason it's so weird is that it was based on a novel by Anne Rampling of the same name. So she wrote a book called Exit to Eden, but that book was kind of more like a thriller, apparently. It was, jewel, what is it happening here? There's a journey of this unwillingly photographed an international jewel thief of whom no other photos exist. So there's this whole, this is the thing. The book that Anne Rampling wrote has none of these idiot cops. It's not really a comedy. It's just this thriller investigation on this orgy island, which sounds cool. I kind of want to read the book. Maybe I'll do a book talk, a book review now. That sounds enjoyable. There's a lot, maybe there's a sex, maybe there's a little murder, who knows? So I guess Gary Marshall got a hold of this and said, hey, let's make this a buddy comedy between Rosie O'Donnell, who I guess was hot at the time, and Dan Aykroyd, who was also hot at the time. They don't really seem to have very much chemistry. They're certainly not dating in it, although I hope at the end they would date. It would be great. So obviously they're the comic relief. Just like, you ever see those old Abbott and Costello movies where if they weren't in it, it would just be a straight romance novel, romance movie, a little adventure at the end, but they're like, let's put Bud and Lou, they'll do their antics and they'll weave in and out. So this is really like two movies, and one of them is based on a legitimate book, and the other one has Rosie O'Donnell in dominatrix gear. Production. The whips used and shown in detail were created by Gene Hartwood. Okay, there's an interesting fact for you all. I'm sure you're writing this down in your notes. Let's talk about the reception. The film garnered attention during its release because of the BDSM themes, which were very rare in a 90s mainstream comedy, where you could just say, like, someone's gay, and, like, that would be a joke enough. You know? What are you, pal? Gay? And then they would roll the credits, and it would get nominated. It has full frontal female nudity, including Dana Delaney. So if you were hungering for a peek at Dana Delaney, Exit to Eden is the film for you. And because of the high profiles of the directors, cast, and author, it is very unusual that these high-profile people would be in this movie about BDSM. Not that it's really about it. It's just a way to make jokes. And full frontal nudity. I want to talk about that. Dear Lord. It was generally panned by critics, no surprise, who had expressed disappointment and confusion about the combination of the original story and the comedic element. Oh, gee, it seems like it was stuck in for commercial purposes. Who is going to the theater to see breasts and Dan Aykroyd? There's no crossover there. You either want Dan, you've done your fucking for the day, the valve is shut off there, and you want Dan, or you want to see some breasts. There's no middle in that, whatever. The film maintains a 6% rotten rating at Rotten Tomatoes based on 17 reviews. Roger Ebert gave the film a half star. And the real question is, did he give it for the breasts or for Dan Aykroyd? One controversy occurred when it was initially banned by the Saskatchewan Film and Video Classification Board. Critics were puzzled by the banning, as Saskatchewan was the only jurisdiction known to have kept the film out of theaters. After a brief media flurry, the board lifted the ban a week later, which it didn't matter because nobody really saw it. But this was in my business, they call it a hit bomb. O'Donnell won the Razzie Award for Worst Supporting Actress for this film, also for The Flintstones and Car 54, Where Are You? And Dan Aykroyd earned nominations for Worst Supporting Actor, and they were both nominated for Worst Screen Couple. They weren't really a couple. That one's not fair. That one's unearned. And at the 1994 Stinkers Bad Movie Awards, which I don't even think exist anymore, O'Donnell was nominated for Worst Actress for the same films. This is the thing that... So I clicked on Rosie because I'm like, what other movies has she really been in? This is just insane. Her first film ever. She was a stand-up, doing her deal. I would say popular, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't alive then. 1992, her first movie ever is A League of Their Own. Literally, figuratively, a home fucking run. Next, Sleepless in Seattle. So you did 2 hits in a row. That's really amazing. And then there's another Stakeout, which I should do once, where she's like another cop. It's a buddy cop thing. Richard Dreyfuss, Emilio Estevez. Let's not discuss it here. Fatal Instinct, where she plays the pet shop lady. Then Car 54, Where Are You? Another film that's totally forgotten about. A remake when they were doing the 90s remakes. I'll Do Anything. Then The Flintstones. She's back on her way up. And then Exit to Eden. But then after then, it's Now and Then. So she's all over the place. She doesn't have the downward trajectory where she's not in straight bomb territory. It feels like she can just make a success wherever she likes. And then, the Rosie O'Donnell show starts. And she's shooting couches and trying to get Barbara on the show. And that's it. So this film was, as you can see, the trailer was terrible. Yet, it is the most attractive I've been to Rosie O'Donnell. Not that I don't like her. This is just the look that I really prefer her in. She follows me on Twitter because we're both blocked by Trump. So I have a kinship with her there. And I would like to let her know, should she ever decide to make an Exit to Eden 2, Return to Eden, I would happily play one of the Orgy Island members if she agrees to don the leather. It's Rosie O'Donnell in the dominatrix gear is kind of my bag. Dan Aykroyd in a mustache, not so much.
Guests of the RJ City Show, subscribe to his channel, follow him on social media, and buy his t-shirts at prowrestlingtees.com/RJ City.